right, welcome to episode number 2 of a show we're calling the Squared Circle. That's official, we don't know that name or anything, but that's what we're calling this weekly episode where we can just, talk about everything pro wrestling. What's happened last week in professional wrestling and what's to come the next week or so. Mm-hmm. And honestly, Ethan, there's a lot of topics we could talk about. We could probably sit here for 2 hours and talk about, different aspects.
Oh yeah, we could just keep rambling on.
But we have to kind of focus down. Just 3 to 4 topics each week, and just kind of things that are kind of on our mind. Mm-hmm. So we're going to start out this week, Ethan. We talked some stuff last week, kicked off last week. We're going to try to do the show on Monday each week. Every week, that might not happen.
But we might miss a week, or maybe it'll be a day or two late, a couple days late, Going
to try to do at least one a week. We've got some other things kind of brewing, so we might not get everything each week. But really kind of the hottest topic in wrestling for the last 2 years has been what?
AEW.
AEW. It's kind of been our show for the last couple of years. I mean, WWE has been around forever, and it's it still feels like everyone's main show. But we've been AEW fans, and
I feel like most of the serious, non-casual, like serious wrestling fans, have loved AEW the past couple of years and disliked WWE. At least most of them have favored AEW over WWE.
Yeah, we were in Vegas for Double or Nothing. We just happened. We were on vacation. It worked out. We got tickets. And you saw just tons and tons of real hardcore wrestling fans that just really had I don't say a hatred, but just a despise for the current WWE product at that time.
We talked to some people there, and a lot of them,
even more than what we would say. Like we were not happy with the way WWE has been going for the last 5 or 6 years. I mean, just almost unbearable to watch. But just the animosity that we saw from people toward WWE. But
there's a lot of
how the tables have turned.
Oh yes,
which is very, very interesting. We're gonna. This is kind of a 2-part topic. We're going to talk about the Triple H era, but more specifically, we're going to focus in, Ethan, on maybe some of the returns.
Okay.
And then part 2, we're going to talk about kind of what we talked about last week, the state of AEW, and because they kind of go hand in hand. Okay. So we've had returns.
Yes. Well, we mentioned this last week, but let's start with kind of the first return of the Triple H era, and that was at SummerSlam.
So, yeah.
Bayley made her in-ring return.
That's right.
And then Dakota Kai and Io Sky made their debut on the main roster at SummerSlam. And then on Raw the next week, was there anything on Raw?
I don't think anybody debuted.
But on SmackDown. Karrion Kross.
Huge Karrion Kross.
Then... Yeah.
And his wife, Scarlett, right? Mm-hmm. And then this past week on Raw, we were at Raw last week.
Yeah.
We didn't mention. Well, we might have mentioned. We did because we featured it, the photos and stuff. Yeah, we were at Raw last Monday in Cleveland, and we didn't even. Here's the funny thing: we didn't even see it.
We didn't see it.
Dexter Lumis made his debut right at the end of Raw. We didn't leave earlier, I think, because we were waiting for like Gargano or something huge to happen. And Lumis came out. They did not feature him in the arena. We did see a little bit of commotion and kind of AJ looking. I don't know if you even saw that.
I kind of saw AJ looking over.
And then we got home and realized that person was Dexter Lumis. So he's back. And, of course, we're going to find out on tonight's Raw what he's doing. Will he be back again? It's going to be like a delayed thing where he's through the crowd. I don't know what they're going to do. So that's another return.
I watched a clip of it. Did the commentators even mention his name?
I believe they did.
They did?
Yeah, I believe they said, look, that's Dexter Lumis, I think. But, I don't know. I look more at the photos of it. So then we had another return as well on Friday.
Friday on SmackDown, Hit Row made the return, which was a group in NXT.
Yep.
Which was Isaiah Swerve Scott, which is now Swerve Strickland in AEW.
Yeah.
He's tag team champion currently, so
he wasn't with him.
Yeah, he's not. I don't see him going back. Not anytime soon, anyway. But Top Dollar, who we also know from WWE Most Wanted Treasures.
He did good on there.
He did, yeah. And what's the other guy's name?
Adonis. Ashante the Adonis.
Okay.
I think that's his name.
And then
B-Fab.
B-Fab.
Their manager.
Yeah.
I'm excited it. I like the group. They were good at NXT.
Oh yeah, they're pretty good.
Will they add somebody else? I've heard rumors of maybe MVP joining with them, which I don't know if that'll work.
I get it because
do they need another person? Scott.
His gimmick. His gimmick is.
Well,
really.
He's a good manager, and then I thought I've heard that maybe Carmella Hayes could join them when he comes to the main roster.
Yeah, Carmella Hayes.
Really, honestly, Isaiah Swerve Scott was like his group.
Yeah,
he was the one who's been in NXT for a while. Mm-hmm. So you can see somebody like Hayes coming in and it being his group. I don't know if they needed nobody. They'd just be a good tag team. I think they're good on their own. Mm-hmm. So the question is, tonight's Raw, SmackDown this week. We're 2 weeks away from Clash of the Castle. From what I've heard, these aren't going to slow down.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't know if there'll be one every single week. They can't keep up with that.
Yeah.
But who comes in next? Who's going to join? Rejoin?
Yeah, and something else to think about. They're setting up some good angles.
So they are.
The Control, as they're being called, which is
Yep.
Bailey and Dakota Kai and Io Sky. Their group is kind of something wrestling fans keep their eye on. Dexter Lumis,
Yeah.
carrying crossover on SmackDown because it's going to make people want to watch what's he going to do next, what's going to happen next, and of course the possibility of there being more debuts. It gets people's eyes back in WWE, and it's good.
It's amazing. Karrion Kross was promoted as a superstar in NXT.
Oh yeah,
I mean he's a world
he
champion.
Kind of just burst right onto the scene.
Yeah.
And just like he moved to the top pretty quick.
But how fast did he get squashed? I mean, from night one he lost to Jeff Hardy on Raw when he came in before
as NXT champion.
and then he was given
He was like undefeated. He'd never been beat before.
Yeah,
pretty much.
He was NXT champion. But I think Jeff Hardy's a legend.
Yeah,
but you don't squash this new guy coming in on night one, and then Vince put him in that stupid get up.
Yeah,
And then it was like, wow, he was nothing quick. But how quickly has he come back? And he's something big again. This is just the way they present him. He's being considered right up there with Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre because they're talking about putting him in this match.
Which really is what they need to do with a lot of the big NXT stars. They don't need to go back and kind of like do what some do, go win the Intercontinental belt or something else. And maybe they could win those belts, but they don't need to go back to it's like they start over. No, it's like they start over. What they need to do is they need to come in as as big of a star as they were there.
Yeah.
And maybe they don't want them to be the biggest yet, just because they haven't been in WWE. But I still think they, like when Shinsuke Nakamura come over.
Yeah.
He won the Royal Rumble, and then they were big top guys. And Finn Balor won the champion. They were top guys when they moved over. That's what they need to do again. And I think that's what they're going to do.
What I never understood is, okay, so say you bring somebody in, not from NXT. I get maybe like changing their name and changing their persona a little bit. I get that because they didn't come from WWE, and you want to put kind of their branding on it.
Right.
But NXT is WWE. Why build him up for 2 or 3 years to bring him to the main roster?
And change them up completely.
Like start again. It's your company. And I don't think that's going to happen anymore.
No.
There's new vision, and there's new leadership. And so I think we're going to be past that. Hopefully that's all over.
Yeah.
And so when the next round of people, maybe Braun Breaker, Carmella Hayes, they're going to be treated more like stars when they hit the main roster.
But here's the thing about them, something to think about for NXT. All these people that are starting to come over, Tommaso Ciampa, Karrion Kross, Johnny Gargano might be coming over, Dexter Lumis. Those people had been there for a couple years.
That's right.
Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes, they've been there for literally only a year.
Yeah.
Like a year ago, about around this time, was the time the 2.0 switched over.
It's true.
Because I can remember SummerSlam weekend last year was the final black and gold takeover.
Yeah.
It was when Karrion Kross was beat by Samoa Joe.
Okay.
And it just gets you thinking, when is that time going to be? Are they going to keep him in NXT for a while and continue to build them? Or could they move him over quicker? Now, Dexter Lumis, he was there for a couple years, 2 or 3 years. Not as long as like Ciampa was there for however many years, 5, 6 years, something like that.
It's true.
A long time. But,
It's kind of interesting because it's like, I think 4 or 5 years is too long.
Yeah.
I think they left Gargano there. Well, they brought Gargano to the main roster and then moved him back. Remember they did that in Ciampa.
Uh-huh.
But, I think Breaker's ready. for the main roster. And Hayes, I think they've been. Really, it's who's behind them. They've got to create the next level of star. And I don't know who that would be. You've got. We're going to talk about NXT in a few minutes.
Or what could happen is also if they move Braun Breaker over.
Yeah.
He gave up the NXT title.
Yeah.
Could Carmelo Hayes be the next top star?
Well,
in NXT, like NXT champion level.
I think so. I think he needs a reign of the championship because I think he's that good. But we'll talk about NXT in a minute. Anybody else you think, and I have not really read any speculation other than Gargano of who's the next person going to come in. Because I feel like Triple H is righting these wrongs. Karrion Kross should not have been fired. No. He's back. Dakota Kai should have been fired. She's back. Hit Row. I know AJ Francis, good buddies with Triple H. They should have been fired. Anybody else? Who's going to be next?
Well, Gargano, of course, has already been talked about.
Yeah.
And you can just think about anybody else.
I know another name.
Who?
The Fiend.
Oh, yeah.
And we've talked ever since The Fiend was fired, which is insane that he was fired.
Why?
We've talked.
Unless there's some sort of backstage issue, why fire the guy who's literally the top guy for pretty much an entire year?
Yeah.
Like when he debuted he was at SummerSlam a couple years ago is when he came back.
Yeah.
And then almost instantly they put a title back on Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
He held it and lost it to Goldberg.
Yeah.
Which was stunk. And then he won it later in the year, then he lost it to Roman Reigns, who now has had it since then.
Yeah.
And then after that he was there and he had some feuds with Randy Orton up to WrestleMania, but I'm pretty sure WrestleMania 37 might have been his last match. Why fire him? He was literally their top guy. Did they think his gimmick was getting old? Did Vince not like it anymore? Why didn't he just change it to something else? I don't know.
Yeah.
Why fire him?
I think, we did a whole show back in the fall of last year, of 2021, and we said tonight's the night. The 90-day clause was up. Tonight's the night that Bray Wyatt or The Fiend or whatever they want to call him, what they're allowed to call him, comes to AEW. And then that passed. And then we said, well, what about the pay-per-view? What about this? Well, here we are almost a year later, and he hasn't. You would think if he was going to go to AEW, then it would have happened by now.
Oh, yeah.
But, so I think he's headed back to WWE. I don't know. I'm not saying he's holding out because who knew that this was going to happen with Vince. But I think he'll be back.
Oh, yeah.
It might be a little bit more time before he comes back. Maybe not like this week or the next, before Clash of the Castle. But, so anyway, that's just kind of the spin we wanted to take on it. Who's going to be, there's a lot of different things that have changed in just a short amount of time. The focus on the Intercontinental U.S. title, commentary being better. I heard Doudrop's name is going to be changed.
Oh, that's great.
That's the best thing that could happen to her. Angel, I think Angel's got got Garza back. Those kind of things. So there's a lot of different changes in it, and they're going to grow. But that's kind of what we wanted to talk about at point one.
Oh, another thing I'd like to mention kind of has to do with both AEW and WWE.
All right.
Cody Rhodes there were wrestlers during this. There's been wrestlers all the time, especially last year into this year.
Yeah.
Who have jumped ship, but there's so many wrestlers went to AEW from WWE, wrestlers who were underused by Vince.
That's right.
Or just wanted to
list
go
a mile long. Yeah.
Pretty much wrestlers who weren't doing anything much. Bryan Danielson was one of them. Adam Cole, the Undisputed Era. Keith Lee, Swerve Strickland.
Malachi Black.
Miro. Some big names. Some like Swerve Strickland.
Some of them are
smaller
released. Names. Some of them left.
Some of them
released. A lot of those left on their own.
Yeah, like you're saying. But out of all those and plenty more, only one AEW wrestler actually jumped ship to WWE, and that was Cody. Which I have no idea why he wanted to go during Vince McMahon time, but I feel like it's probably because of the push he was going to have when he got there.
Yeah.
I got a feeling that's why. But that was the only one. Now with some new leadership, now with Triple H taking over, and who could possibly, maybe some people underused in AEW, people who aren't getting pushed enough, or maybe they're who's going to jump over to WWE now that they see this is better than it was before? Let's go. Maybe we need to go over there. Who knows what Triple H can do with them?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned this because I think if there was no contracts, and contracts were just ended today, well, then it would just be like boom, because there would be still guys from WWE that would want to go there. There's guys, but I think there would be a ton. However,
plenty of them who aren't on TV that much, like Miro.
Here's 4 or 5 names that I have read that won out.
Well, we already know one, supposedly.
Spirit, yeah, we don't know these people. This is just speculation. Miro, Andrade.
MJF, of course.
Well, MJF,
That's what he says.
supposedly. But just since Triple H took over, Miro, Andrade, Malachi Black, and Adam Cole. Now, I don't know if that's the one I haven't heard the most about, but pretty much Tony Khan has already said, and he's already addressed this. He said just because there's new leadership somewhere else does not mean they're not under contract.
Right.
Adam Cole is under contract till 2027. That's
crazy.
insane.
In 2027, I'll be 20 years old. That's 6 years old.
Yeah. Then we have
5 years old.
I think Miro is under long-term contract. Malachi Black's under 4 or 5 years. So these guys are not just going to go to Triple H just because they want to. Now maybe they can beg for the release or ask for the release. I don't know what will happen there, and I don't see Khan releasing any of those guys.
Because they're like, look at these
because he knows where they're going.
Where are they going to go? What are they going to do with them?
Yeah.
And now I feel like more than ever people are going to want to go over, because I felt like back during the time where Vince was running it, not that many wrestlers wanted to go there. They had already left. They got out of there. They don't want to go back. Now that it's better, now they want to go back, because now that Triple H is pushing some other people,
regime,
building up these more stars. Which one's going to jump over and could be some people are maybe more towards the mid card, or maybe are more main event level who are being used more like in a mid card level in AEW, just because of how many people they have could move over.
Now here's a question. We talked to all these different wrestlers. We say they're in better hands with Triple H. Somebody like Ciampa, which already has been promoted differently. And then they're saying, I've heard but there's a few guys that were kind of Vince guys. Maybe somebody like Baron Corbin or Theory. But here's a question, and this is what I just thought about the other day. What about Cody Rhodes? Was Cody Rhodes in better hands under Vince? I mean, he came in back with Vince. Vince was willing to push him. And, there's been a on and off feud, the Thronebreaker.
Of course.
And now Cody's in Triple H's hands.
What does Triple H want to do with the person who in AEW took a sledgehammer to his throne?
Yeah, and he might, it's all entertainment. It's all, I'm sure that. But what, will there be any some animosity there? Like, man, you might not be the world champion under me. I don't know. It's something to think about. I don't think so. I think he knows what he's got with Cody, and but taking 9 months off, it's going to be being injured. It's going to be interesting to see. It's an exciting time to be a wrestling fan.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Now we talked about the guys possibly coming from AEW back to WWE if they're able to.
Right.
I'll be honest with you. We're AEW guys. We have been, AEW has been our show for 2+ years.
Yep.
But I will say this: before Vince stepped down and was removed from the picture, AEW was already starting to get a little stale. Really, ever since Double or Nothing. And we mentioned this last week. We did talk about it a little bit last week. So the question is, it's a bad time for Triple H to take over, because momentum was already starting. I mean, I'm not saying it was ever going toward WWE, and creatively, AEW is still in first place.
Oh yeah, of course.
Creatively,
and their shows are still better to watch.
Yeah,
even than Raw, which is better now, but definitely better than it has been for a while.
It's definitely hey, I want to see what happens. Who knows if it'll be better, but I will at least want it. I'm interested in watching Raw for the first time in a long time, and SmackDown. But Rampage to me, we mentioned this also last week. Rampage is probably almost not watchable.
And this week's Rampage, people gave it very bad reviews.
Hook fighting with this reality star. This whole Trustbusters group, I absolutely...
They're literally horrible. They're like nobody.
You got Brock Lesnar Jr., and it's just not watchable for me. I mean, I don't care about Rampage anymore. It's pretty much main event.
Yeah, when they first started, they had a big kickoff episode. Then, of course, the second episode was big because Punk came back. and they had some good matches in there. But do you know what the second Rampage? You know what the main event was the night CM Punk was there?
No.
Think about, in perspective of this, think about 1 year ago, the state of the wrestlers in this match. John Moxley, of course, is the main event star, versus Danny Garcia, who had pretty much like just jumped over. Like, what kind of main event is that?
Yeah.
John Moxley and Danny Garcia.
But, you know...
And then after that, it pretty much was just... There's been some good episodes here and there, some good matches in there.
And Punk coming back, and I'm
underwhelming.
I'm not the Punk's biggest fan, but he did give a shot in the arm coming back. And then he said, okay... Here's what kind of going into our second segment. We got All Out coming up in a few weeks. Really, just a little over 2 weeks. Almost 3 weeks. 3 weeks. So the question is did the Punk and Moxley is probably what we're going to get, unless Punk is not ready to return. But I don't think he would have come back if he wasn't. Which is a good match.
Oh yeah,
and it really says, okay, that sounds good. That's good. Yeah. What else do you think is going to happen at All Out? What are the matches you have got penciled in? Now we know the only official match I know is Garcia or Eddie Kingston versus Guevara, which is not the first match I would announce.
Yeah, I did hear that, but the question is, I heard Eddie Kingston mention that, but I've not seen any graphics for it. I haven't seen any.
Okay,
but
they talked about it this week.
I think it's going to happen.
I think like Guevara this past week, because we didn't watch Rampage, we just kind of read about it. I think they kind of sealed that up.
Yeah, and their build
is happening.
And I saw somewhere online, some article said that their pay-per-view build has not been that great because there's like 3 weeks left.
Yeah,
and they've announced 0 matches.
And I thought it was great for Double or Nothing.
Oh yeah,
and the last pay-per-view. But yeah, this one is like the direction of. It just feels like AEW is going so many different directions.
Yeah,
I mean they've got the trios belts that they're pushing for. That's going to happen at the pay-per-view. I think we'll see Jungle Boy and Christian.
Yeah,
which I like. I like that.
Christian's
been an awesome heel.
It's been a storyline that's kind of been going on for.
Yeah, and I think Luchasaurus will eventually turn on Jungle Boy. I think that's happening. I think they're presenting Luchasaurus kind of darker, and I think that's a good way to go. Mm-hmm. What else? What other matches?
Well, that's the thing. It's hard because let's think about the champions for a second. You already can see John Moxley is interim champion. Either he's going to fight somebody at All Out, or Punk is going to come back. Yeah. Punk return. That's a pretty big match.
Good match.
John Moxley versus CM Punk. Pretty good. And then they set up Jungle Boy and Christian. But let's think about all the other champions. Let's think about the TNT champion Wardlow, who is a big star.
I like him.
An up-and-comer. He's pretty good. Who is he feuding with right now? Nobody. Right now he's feuding with Jay Lethal and the big tall giant and whoever that other guy is. I hope he doesn't. I could not see AEW putting Wardlow. I got a feeling Wardlow might fight whatever that guy's name is at some point, but not on pay-per-view.
Not at All Out.
They haven't set up anything with Wardlow. Nobody.
No.
And they're not going to have Jay Lethal.
He could fight Jay Lethal, but I don't think Jay. I love Jay Lethal.
They already fought one.
But they haven't presented him as being a top guy.
No.
And so I don't think that makes sense for TNT.
Like who's it going to be?
I don't know. And then you move on to maybe we'll see this week. Maybe the next 2 weeks we got to figure it out. I like Swerve and Keith Lee as champions. I mean, might not have been the call I would have made. It was a shot call because I would have rather have seen the Bucks and FTR. To me, that would have been that's huge.
It's happened.
But the way FTR has been the team of the year, and they've just been the momentum's been building. They've got all these titles. Mm-hmm. Even if they're fight for the titles,
they might be next. I think they're going to be next.
I think that they should be next.
Yeah. That's something you could think about. But not as big of a match, but could it be Swerve and Our Glory versus FTR?
That's what I think.
I can see that.
But them and the Bucks would have been so much bigger. They would have been such a bigger win just because the Bucks have been champions for so long.
Yeah, but
not that I don't like Swerve and Lee. I do, and I'm glad they're champions.
Something else to think about. But either at the end of last year or earlier this year, they had a rematch, FTR and the Young Bucks. Main event, and FTR won. You remember that? So they kind of even up the odds. If they would have had this big match and now for another belt, FTR could add to their collection. It's been high stakes.
Not that the Bucks and FTR is just like this fresh feud, and it's not. But it's just because FTR has just their momentum, and they've got all the belts, and beating the Bucks as heels. Mm-hmm. I don't know. And the trios titles, it's just a lot of titles. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not against them, and I'm not. I'm kind of indifferent.
Yes. some of the teams in this are underwhelming. Of course, the Trustbusters.
Yeah.
Orange Cassidy is good, but Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends are in the tournament.
Yeah.
Adam Cole and the Undisputed Era is not.
They're not in.
They're not in this match.
Well, maybe they're not ready to return.
Yeah.
It has to be.
I don't know why else
I thought we were going to see Bucks and Omega versus.
Oh yeah.
So now I think it's going to be Hangman and Dark Order versus. I think so.
But think about this: the
so.
Dark Order, their first match, they're going to fight against the House of Black. Are they going to beat the House of Black?
Well, that's true. It could be the House of Black there. I don't know, but they got Hangman. No, Hangman's not in it.
Yeah, Hangman's not in it.
No, I changed that. I forgot that. No, you're going to see House of Black in there. I don't know. I like House of Black.
That's the thing. Let's think about this bracket for a second. I know that Andrade's group, which has got a third man now, are going to be fighting against. This Wednesday is going to be against the Young Bucks and a mystery partner, which is a little bit of excitement coming up this week. Going to be a surprise, even though we probably already know it's going to be Omega.
Yeah.
Which they'll go to the finals and win, probably.
Which is great. We're glad he's back.
That's great. And then I think the Death Triangle's in there somewhere.
All right, now, there was a pause there because the camera died. And so we're going to pick right back up here. We kind of talked about WWE and Triple H, talked about AEW and kind of the status that we might have ended that kind of abruptly. We haven't given up on AEW.
No.
Still our favorite.
Oh yeah.
But we're holding our breath and just seeing what happens here. Oh, another thing I was going to mention about All Out.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. Is I've heard rumors of Jericho versus Bryan Danielson. Because Danielson's been feuding with Garcia. I think it's going to end this week. And then
I thought about that. I thought that could happen.
So, moving on to our last topic. Go ahead. You
just one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go
ahead, Columbo. Just one more thing
about AEW. When it comes to the trios tournament, I've already got a prediction of who I think will be in the final.
Tell me.
It's almost guaranteed. One side, if Kenny Omega ends up coming back with the Young Bucks, which who else could it be?
Yeah.
Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks are going to be in the finals and probably win. And there's really no one else on the other side who really stands a chance. On the other side of the bracket, the House of Black is fighting the Dark Order. They're going to beat the Dark Order easily. Hangman and Page is in their corner and not in the match. So, of course, the House of Black is going to win. And then for the other match, it's Best Friends versus the Trustbusters.
Yeah.
We know who's going to win that, but no matter who wins, they're not going to beat the House of Black.
Yeah.
I can't see that. I got a feeling it'll be the House of Black and the Elite in the finals.
I could see that, and I that's what it should be. But I could see Hangman and Page kind of maybe helping them or being their inspiration, to be the kind of... And I could see the Dark Order going on in the finals to take on the Bucks and Omega. But, it probably won't happen. That's just what could happen. And I hope it's not the Trustbusters.
Yeah.
Which is the dumbest name ever. Just about. It's worse than Braun Breaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trustbusters.
And then we're going on to their final comment.
Trustbusters.
I wouldn't call them.
No.
Moving on to the final kind of point, and that's tomorrow, is Heatwave. And NXT is kind of like the brand that we don't talk about anymore because we've just not been happy with the last year. Hopefully some wrongs will become right. And there's a lot of different matches. I'm not even sure on all of them. I do know Braun Breaker is going to be defending the championship against JD McDonough. Or what was he called before?
I don't even remember.
It's JD. No, I don't know. Anyway, it's the guy Jordan Devlin. Yeah, the guy from UK. Mm-hmm. And so, is it time for Breaker to move to the main roster? Is it time for Breaker to lose the belt?
No.
He's a 2-time champion.
I don't think so. I don't think this guy's not big enough of a wrestler. At least I know we haven't been watching.
Yeah.
But is he really big enough of a...
Well, I see him champion before, like, Joe Gacy, who he fought before. Is he bigger than Grimes? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. It's just, do they want Breaker on the main roster? I've been reading some rumors that the draft could take place after Clash of the Castle.
Yeah.
So Breaker could be somebody that comes to the main roster, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm going to go with Breaker winning this as well.
I'm going to agree with you.
I think there might be a North American title match. I know it's Hayes versus that one guy, Vinci or Giovanni Vinci. I don't know his name.
Oh, the like Italian guy?
Yeah.
What's his name?
I don't know, something that...
Tony D'Angelo.
No, that's Tony
Not him?
D'Angelo. No,
That's
there's
it.
another guy, like Giovanni Vinci. I don't know. We haven't watched that much.
Heard of him.
I just read his name, and I've seen him before. But Tony D'Angelo is taking on Santos Escobar,
Oh yeah.
or Mr. Santos. Remember from Ernest Saves Christmas. And if Santos loses, he's done in NXT.
Well.
Which the writing's on the wall there. I've been reading rumors that Santos Escobar is ready for the main roster.
That'd be
And
good.
so-
He's been there for a while.
Yep. I'm not a big Tony D'Angelo fan at all.
No.
But
Escobar,
he's good.
Pretty good.
I'll bring the guys with him, and this is could be their first main NXT call up in the Triple H era.
yeah.
Thanks for watching episode 2. We'll be back next week. We have a special location possibly for next week's filming. Right. We'll get to that next week on the Squared Circle right here on this channel.
All right. Thanks for watching.
Yep.